Simpson.
Miss Bogan, we meet again.
We do. It's so fun seeing you here.
Yes, with our 6 feet
6
between
feet.
us.
We got it.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, but last week we were reading about Amelia Bedelia.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Although I'm still waiting for my brownie.
Those brownies and your tea cake.
Ah, I'm so hungry.
Oh, I messed up. So when we read about Amelia Bedelia, that funny girl, we were collecting information about her because she was our main character.
Yes.
And then we were paying attention to how she was responding to problems. And although she did respond to the problems, we found out she kind of created her own problems too.
She did. Made the book more interesting.
Yeah.
But
She's funny,
she
but she didn't really solve problems the right way, I would say.
No.
So today we're going to read about the Magic Tree House.
I love Magic Tree House.
One of the best things about Magic Tree House is that there's so many in this series.
A series? You mean like what we learned last week?
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
So once you read number 1, you can read number 2 and number 3 and number 4, all the way up. I think there's 50 something.
There's a lot. Can you read them out of order?
I think you can.
Yeah.
I usually like to read things in order because that's just kind of me. But I think you can read them out of order.
Which is so cool about a series book because you can read the books and you're getting an idea of the same sort of characters and...
Which is funny because that's what we're going to talk about today.
What?
Yeah. So characters can behave in the same way from chapter to chapter and even from book to book in a series.
No way.
Yeah, way.
That's so cool. So like when I get I'm like really into a book and then all of a sudden it ends and I'm like, oh,
You could
man.
start another one about the same
Whoa,
characters.
that's so great.
Yes, because I get that feeling sometimes too, that I finish a book and I'm kind of sad.
Right.
But with a series, you can keep going.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. And
I
there's
mean-
lots of cool series. Cam Jansen, Junie B. Jones, she's really funny.
Yeah.
Magic Tree House.
Amelia Bedelia.
Amelia Bedelia. Yeah, so there's lots of options.
I like it.
So I was thinking I could read you chapter 1, and then we could talk about those 2 main characters and maybe collect some information on them.
I like it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
And I previewed the book, so I already know that Jack and Annie are my main characters.
Because you read the blurb on the back.
I did a sneak peek.
What?
Yep,
I like
I learned
that.
that from my 2nd grade teacher.
She's awesome.
Yeah. So this is Magic Tree House number 1, Dinosaurs Before Dark.
Ooh.
Not after dark. Chapter 1, Into the Woods. Help! A monster!
Whoa!
Said Annie. Yeah, sure, said Jack. A real monster in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. Run, Jack! Said Annie. She ran up the road. Oh, brother. This is what he got for spending time with his 7-year-old sister. Annie loved pretend stuff, but Jack was 8 and a half. He liked real things. Watch out, Jack! The monster's coming! Race you!
Oh. Gives me chills.
Kind of scary.
Yeah.
No thanks, said Jack. Annie raced alone into the woods. Jack looked at the sky. The sun was about to set. Come on, Annie. It's time to go home. But Annie had disappeared. Jack waited. No Annie. Annie! He shouted again. Jack! Jack! Come here!
Ooh, she's back.
Jack groaned. Oh, this better be good, he said. Jack left the road and headed into the woods. The trees were lit with a golden late afternoon light.
Ooh, I like
Come here, called Annie. There she was, standing under a tall oak tree. Look, she said. She was pointing at a rope ladder. The longest rope ladder Jack had ever seen. Wow, he whispered. The ladder went all the way up to the top of the tree. There, at the top, was a tree house. It was tucked between 2 branches. That must be the highest treehouse in the world, said Annie. Who built it? Asked Jack. I've never seen it before. I don't know, but I'm going up, said Annie. No, we don't know who it belongs to, said Jack. Just for a teeny minute, said Annie. She started up the ladder. Annie, come back! She kept climbing. Ooh, look, you can see that. Jack sighed. Annie, it's almost dark. We have to go home. Annie disappeared inside the treehouse. Annie! Jack waited a moment. He was about to call again when Annie poked her head out of the treehouse window. Books! She shouted. What? It's filled with books!
Fun.
Oh man, Jack loved books. He pushed his glasses into place. He gripped the sides of the rope ladder, and up he went.
Ooh, yes. That was it? That was the end of the chapter?
You want to hear more, don't you?
I do.
So we're going to talk about Jack and Annie because they're very different characters.
They are. I almost feel like I can connect to some of those characters.
Like you know them almost.
Right.
Okay.
And some of their personality,
Mm-hmm.
I can see in myself or in a friend.
Yes, I like that. So when I think of Jack, I think that he is maybe a little bit nervous.
Ooh, yes. I'm going to write that down.
He's nervous. And another word that I would like to share with our friends that they might not know is the word skeptical.
Ooh.
So
good
skeptical,
shades of
yes, yeah, you're right. Skeptical means like somebody presents you with an idea and you kind of question if you want to do that or not. You kind of wonder like, is this a good idea? I don't know that you've really thought this through.
Yeah.
I'm kind of skeptical on if I believe you or if I trust you.
Yes, and you know what? Sometimes you're skeptical because you're responsible and you're thinking things through.
Oh, I like that. So do you think that Jack's responsible?
Ooh, we just came up with another
That's
one.
a really good one.
Let's add that to our
Responsible. Okay. Good. That's a really good one. Now, if I think about Annie,
list.
I would say Annie is very adventurous.
Good word. Like
Annie-
that word.
Annie loves to go on a good adventure. And she is really willing to kind of do anything. Like she will just go straight for it and she's not skeptical.
No, she's not.
She's almost, maybe you would say she's brave.
Ooh, I like that.
She's the first one to go up into the house.
She is. And at the beginning, she was showing that she was also very playful because she liked make-believe.
That's a great one, playful. Let's add that to our list also.
I like it.
I think that that's good. Can you think of anything else that we need to add?
I'm sure that we're going to as we come through, but really interested in this next chapter, so could we read that?
Yes, I'm interested too.
Okay.
Let's read chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called The Monster.
Oh, like the one at the beginning of the chapter 1.
It's kind of scary. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so while we read this chapter, we want to see if we notice any of the same things in the characters across the chapters. So in chapter 2, is Jack still nervous or skeptical? Is he still being responsible? And Annie, is she still really brave or does she all of a sudden get scared? Is she still really adventurous or is she like, I want to go home? And is she still playful? So those are the things we're going to watch out for.
Okay, what if we come up with new things? Is that okay?
Yeah, totally. You can always add. And then once we think of the words, we can see if there's any similarities.
Like shades of meaning.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's
Great
do
idea.
it.
All right, chapter 2, The Monster. Jack crawled through a hole in the treehouse floor. Wow, the treehouse was filled with books. Books everywhere. Very old books, books with dusty covers, new books with shiny bright covers. Look, you can see far, far away, said Annie. She was peering out the treehouse window. This is how you peer.
Ooh.
Yeah, peering is like looking. Jack looked out the window with her. Down below were the tops of the other trees. In the distance, he saw the Frog Creek Library.
Whoa.
The elementary school. The park. Annie pointed in the other direction. There's our house, she said. Sure enough, there was their white wooden house with the green porch. Next door was their neighbor's black dog, Henry. Hi, Henry. He looked very tiny. Hi, Henry, shouted Annie. Shh, said Jack. We're not supposed to be up here. He glanced around the treehouse again. I wonder who owns all these books, he said. He noticed bookmarks were sticking out of many of them. I like this one, said Annie. She held up a book with a castle on the cover. Here's a book about Pennsylvania, said Jack. He turned to the page with the bookmark. Hey, there's a picture of Frog Creek in here, said Jack. It's a picture of these woods.
Whoa.
Oh, here's a book for you, said Annie. She held up a book about dinosaurs. A blue silk bookmark was sticking out of it. Let me see it. Jack set down his backpack and grabbed the book from her. You look at that one, and I'll look at the one about castles, said Annie. No, we better not, said Jack. We don't know who these books belong to. But even as he said this, Jack opened the dinosaur book to where the bookmark was. He couldn't help himself. He turned to a picture of an ancient flying reptile, a pteranodon.
Ooh.
He touched the huge bat-like wings. Wow, whispered Jack. I wish I could see a pteranodon for real. Jack studied the picture of the odd-looking creature soaring through the sky. Ah! Screamed Annie. What? Said Jack. A monster! Annie cried. She pointed to the treehouse window. Stop pretending, Annie, said Jack. No, really, said Annie. Jack looked out the window. A giant creature was gliding above the treetops. He had a long, weird crest on the back of his head, a skinny beak, and huge bat-like wings. Whoa! It was a real, live pteranodon. The creature curved through the sky. He was coming straight toward the treehouse. He looked like a glider plane. The wind began to blow. The leaves trembled. Suddenly, the creature soared up, high into the sky. Jack nearly fell out the window trying to see it. The wind picked up. It was whistling now. The treehouse started to spin. What's happening? Cried Jack. Get down! Shouted Annie. She pulled him back from the window. The treehouse was spinning faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. He held on to Annie. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Jack opened his eyes. Sunlight slanted through the window. There was Annie, the books, his backpack. The treehouse was still high up in an oak tree. But it wasn't the same oak tree.
Whoa. Whew. I looked out the window to
was
make
scary.
sure that that wasn't a nonfiction book. Because that sure did feel weird.
My heart started racing.
Yes.
I was getting really scared.
I know. I mean, now I feel like I'm friends with Jack and Annie, and I was nervous for them.
Speaking of friends, have you ever noticed that your friends act the same way in two different places?
Oh, like my friends at school,
Mhm.
they're nice and they're kind
Mhm.
and they like to
Those
share.
are good ways to describe them. Do they do that in other places too?
Well, when I've had my friends over for play dates,
Yeah,
they share.
and they're nice
Yeah,
and they're kind.
all the time. Whoa, both places.
So now we're going to see, are Jack and Annie the same from one chapter to another?
So like the setting in real life changes.
Mm-hmm.
The chapters, even though the setting might change, maybe they're still the same in the book.
That's right.
So cool.
Makes
Let's
sense?
do it. I'm so excited.
Okay, so when I think of Jack in chapter 2, Jack was really nervous. I was nervous too.
I mean, yeah, he was. He was yelling for Annie to get back.
Yes.
So, yes, he
Yeah.
was.
Very nervous. I also think that when he was yelling for Annie to get back, and when he was saying in the beginning, let's not open the books because they might be somebody else's, that was him being very responsible.
Right. It sure was.
And he really was being skeptical also because he didn't know if they should open these books. He's like, I don't know. You think that we should open them, but is that a good idea? I don't really know.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I think you're right. Let's put skeptical down also. Look!
I see. Wait, they're the exact same.
They're in a different order, but they're the same words.
Because Jack was the same in chapter 1 that he was in chapter 2.
I think that's so cool.
I wonder if it's the same for Annie.
Let's try.
Okay, so let's see. When I think about Annie, she really wanted to look into those books.
Yeah.
And kind of go on like a, you know how sometimes when you read, you're going on an adventure?
Always, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like she was kind of adventurous, I think would be a good word, because she wanted to go on a book adventure.
I even covered up the chapter 1 words, and you still put one down that we
Whoa,
put.
I forgot! It is adventurous.
Let's write it down.
Okay, well, she's obviously the same in some ways. Let's think about those other 2 words. Brave. Do you think she was brave? She was, like, looking out the window.
She was full on investigating the whole thing.
It takes bravery.
She was. She was very brave. I would not be nearly as brave as Annie was. That's for sure.
You know, that word playful. I don't know that she was very playful in this chapter.
There wasn't really a whole lot to be. She might be later on in the book, but not
So
really
do they have to
significant.
be the same in every way from one chapter to another?
No. And you know what's so cool is I bet you in chapters later on, we're going to find that maybe she's playful, but maybe not some of the other ones.
And in chapter 2, I think there were some spots that she was kind of scared.
Oh, so you mean we can even add new
We can add new words.
personalities
Yes.
and character traits?
And it's kind of weird to have brave and scared in the same spot, but you can be brave and scared in the same chapter.
Right. Yes, because there were so many new things happening. You are allowed to be a little bit scared.
So scared. So we have seen now that Jack was the same from chapter 1 to chapter 2, and Annie had some things that were the same and some things that were different.
That is so cool. And as we continue reading, we'll get to know more about the characters, and they can kind of become like our friends.
Yeah. And as we read more chapters, we can even get to know the characters so well, we might even be able to guess what they're thinking.
Ooh. And you know what I love most about books that are like this is you start to play a movie in your brain of the book, and using this information, the characters come to life.
That's what really good authors do.
And really awesome readers.
They can pick that out.
Yeah.
All right, well, I can't wait to meet again so we can read chapter 3 together.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kind of nervous.
I know, the monster. I might have to grab like some protective gear.
Yeah,
Like
face
a
mask.